Lords, I beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
My Lords, we have no plans to make changes to the removal of the spare room subsidy. As well as conducting a formal evaluation of the policy over a 2-year period, we have also started an outreach exercise with a number of local authorities to monitor implementation and ensure that sufficient support has been provided to local authorities and claimants.
Can I thank the Minister but say that the reply is disappointing? Can I say to the Minister that many people feel that this is by far the worst of the welfare changes that the government has made, and that there is mounting evidence not only of financial hardship but also of families and individuals coming under severe emotional pressure. And last week there was a particularly sad case reported where a tragic outcome had resulted. It seems that the warnings of many noble lords during our earlier debates on this subject are being borne out. And can I urge the Minister to reconsider this and preferably abandon this tax altogether?
Very good.
Well, my Lords, the policy as it stands is designed to, firstly, to save money. We're looking to save £500 million a year here. That is within a context of an overall saving of £2 billion we're trying to make over the 2 years, the bulk of the burden of which has been on the private rented sector, the LHA basis, which has gone through reasonably safely. We're monitoring this particular change. Clearly all these changes have got to be looked at very carefully, and we need to just keep a very close eye on it. We are keeping a very close eye on it because the design of this is to make sure that there are responses that people can make in terms of either trading down, pulling in lodgers, looking for work. There's a behavioural response here that we're looking for people to make, but clearly we are looking for that response.
My Lord, can I put it to the Minister that today, this morning, on television, a couple was interviewed by Eamon Holmes. The wife had spina bifida and had to be in a special bed. The viewers were able to see the special bed. And the husband, therefore, was required to sleep in a second room. The husband stated that he will lose 60, or both of them will lose £60 per month. And they had made representation to the Minister's department. Will the Minister look into this matter, which seems to me and to many others to be very unjust indeed?
Well, my Lords, the way that we are looking to protect people in difficult circumstances here is by looking to the local authorities to apply the discretionary housing payments, which have gone up enormously. They're now running overall at £150 million this year. They run for this SRS at £360 million. And clearly, when you get these hard cases, our expectation is that they are looked after locally.
My Lords, said very clearly that... My Lords, there is, as my noble friend the Minister just explained, a large number of exemptions and are done through discretion to local authorities. However, the government has insisted on a certain number of exemptions, and one of the most welcome is the recent exemptions given to a disabled child who is unable to share a bedroom. I wonder now whether my noble friend the Minister would extend this commitment to include a disabled adult who is unable to share a bedroom, and so put this matter beyond doubt and not leave it to the discretion and doubt for the local authorities.
Well, my Lords, we are looking for local authorities to deal with this matter with adults. We think there is a difference between disabled children and disabled adults, and that disabled children cannot know whether they pose a risk to themselves or to another child, whereas adults and couples are able to exercise choice in how they run their lives.
What advice?
My Lord's, estimates in Hull, I'm told, suggest that some 6,000 people there are affected by the under-occupancy rule, and there are something like 70 flats available for them to be moved to. And I hear similar stories from all over the country. Will the Minister tell us just what people are supposed to do when no smaller accommodation can be offered to them?
Well, my lords, there's been a substantial exercise by many councils, local authorities and housing associations around the country to try and juggle people's requirements. And when you look at the breakdown of what our provision is in the across, I'm looking at the English figures, the social sector provision is 31% are one bedroom. A similar number, 34%, are two bedroom, and the remainder, around 35%, are three bedrooms plus. So there is provision there. It's a question of getting people moved into the right one. Don't forget, there are 250,000 people who are in overcrowded circumstances. 1.8 million people are on the waiting list for social housing.
Very clearly, the Minister said very clearly in his intervention. The Minister said very clearly in his intervention. The Minister said very clearly in his intervention that he was monitoring the situation carefully and keeping a close eye on what is happening. Will he tell us how many people have to commit suicide before he recognises that the policy is wrong?
Well, my lords, clearly I am aware of what was a very sad case recently, and I wish to reiterate my condolences to the family. But clearly it's not appropriate for me to comment further on that because it's a matter for the relevant authorities to investigate.
What advice would the Minister give to this chair of a housing association, to a family with a disabled couple, 2 children, in a house which has 1 double bedroom, 2 single bedrooms? They cannot move because there is no stock in rural Norfolk for them to move to. They cannot work because of their disability and caring responsibilities. They cannot afford the bills. And yet, though they are applying for discretionary housing payments, that will run out by about September. At that point, they will run into severe arrears. Will the Minister advise me, as chair of that housing association, to evict the family at that point and send them into bed and breakfast accommodation at higher cost to us all as well as to them?
Well, my lords, the idea of providing discretionary housing payments is twofold. One is to allow for the costs of making a change and a transition, and the other, in some cases, is to maintain the family in an appropriate home indefinitely. And clearly, one of the most obvious examples of that is specially adapted homes where it doesn't make sense to move. So there should be a strategy of support for that couple, whether it's a short term or longer term.
Lord